I'm Justin Varner. I've given this talk 8 times. However, it's the first time with this awesome new slide deck. So I can't wait to run through it. Plus a whole lot of new material that will pave the way to Hacker Halted if you like this one in October. My final version will add on a red team component, and we'll get to that. Who am I? You're not going to find out online, but I've been doing security 18 years. My background's math. I started out at NASA doing cryptography for the space station, and now I try to teach people how to detect breaches in real time before they get pwned, and it costs a lot of money. I've been doing this for 2 years. I partnered with Think's Canary out of South Africa. Never could have anticipated what this ended up being. I've now partnered with Tines and Gray Noise and Run Zero, and it's been incredible. So I'm excited to go through this. Honeypot boo boo. So if any Missy Elliott fans out there, I need to trap friends with the bones of the jaw. What is deception technology? It's a new mechanism and approach where we're trying to lure bad guys in to make dumb decisions. We want to de-anonymize them. We want them to announce their presence rather than us wait and find needles in haystacks, which doesn't work, right? Breaches are compounding in cost, complexity, and frequency. What we're doing doesn't work. We also are losing a lot of good people and analysts. There's a lot of people spending inordinate amounts of time chasing red herrings and false positives. And not every incident has to be a breach, right? But right now, the blast radius is so large. If they get in, they pwn. If you get domain admin, it's game over. So we need a new approach. That's what I'm going to tell you about. Any laundry room Viking fans out there? But I feel for the analysts because it's a really hard job. You're expected to work all these hours, spending time doing things that should be automated and manual, but that's not what's happening, hence the burnout. And the old saying, well, I made this up, pyramid of pain. The analysts know you're spending way too much time in the painful part. So why this? Headlines. NSA, best agency at detecting this. No, 1.7 terabytes out the door. Code Cove, Equifax, you all have a credit score. Well, everyone else knows your information too. It's just an abundant, epic cluster, and it just continues to get worse. Who just got breached yesterday, the day before? I don't know, you tell me. It's not working, we need something new. Jimmy McMillan, 2008, if you remember, his whole platform was about price of rent being too high. And it really is, but cybercrime's even worse. In fact, it's going to cost about $11 trillion in 2026. FBI had a report, 39 seconds, there's a complaint that someone in cyberspace has been ripped off, 880,000, and there was no hope until now, I hope. Let's see. Take a look at some of the biggest data breaches in records. 15 billion 2024. Camp4 is that naughty little streaming site, more records than people. Yahoo's been pwned many times, so repeat pwn. ADHAR, that was an interesting experiment. Indian government says, let's take all the identity of Indian citizens, social security, driver's license, tie it into a 16-digit national ID, and then invite hackers to break it. So 2 hours later, this is what happens. Don't be stupid. In 212 days is the average amount of time based off the IBM breach report before anyone even knows that they've been pwned. Another 279 days to actually remediate. So, we need to know a lot sooner than that. So let me introduce you now to Think's Canary and their approach. Back in the day, you'd send a canary in the coal mine to warn you that bad things are happening before the miners died. That was the canary. So back in 2015, Harut and Mir came up with this idea. Why don't we look at not only honeypots, traditionally they were sitting on the internet listening for traffic, nothing particularly interesting to you. He said, how about we put them inside the network one hop away so that they're more tailored to your environment. Let's say you're running Joomla, SQL Server. Why not run a honeypot that looks exactly the same? It blends in, and adversaries are going to go after it, and the moment they do, you're going to know. It's as simple as that. But then you add on to it. The tokens are literally just like little traps you put everywhere. It can be a Google Doc, It can be AWS keys, Google keys, literally anything. I've contributed like 4 different tokens, part of the Kubernetes one, bunch of others. Like, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And these are high fidelity signals, and it's free. CanaryTokens.org, you can generate unlimited tokens, or you can pay $5,000 a year for them to host it. That's a security company that gets it. Freemium model, give it away for free, charge people if they don't have time. So the bird is the word. Let me tell you more about honeypots. From the window to the walls. So Active Directory, right? It manages users, assets, computers via domain controllers. But AD's been pwned, DC Shadow, DC Sync, Kerberos Golden Ticket, Silver Ticket, on and on and on. Lots of research on how to pwn AD. Very attractive target. Get domain admin, it's normally game over. So why don't we pretend to be a domain controller? Now, one thing to note, Things Canary says that this is so convincing that if you run AD, it will interact with your environment. So proceed with caution. Look at this. Run nmap against the DC. You'll be hard pressed to tell this isn't. You can even add the right domain, ad.things.com. Looks like Kerberos. You can even add your own cert, IIS. These are all legitimate services that the moment they're scanned and interrogated, this is what it looks like. No need to buy your own Christmas tree this year. So not only are you getting alerts for the scans, if somebody were to go log into your IIS page, captures their credentials, send it to Slack, send it to PagerDuty, literally an unlimited number of endpoints, made easy by Tynes, that awesome store company out of Dublin. They allow you, if it has an API, you can connect it. But that's what the alerts essentially look like. Username, IP, we're already starting to gather data on who this person is, right? We know just from that they're on a running nmap, what looks to be IIS. So we're getting basic data, we know the IP, and we keep proceeding. Here's another example for non-DC, like Joomla, just an epic pile of shit. It's on the internet, it's vulnerable. You can have your little My site sit out there, and when people interact with it similarly, gives you headers, it tells you, oh, this is coming from a Mac. Now, if you're trying to figure out an adversary, you now know the IP, Richmond, they're using a Mac, and it's an M1. How many people in Richmond have an M1? Well, Valve happens to have a Heartbreak survey. You can see how you can quickly de-anonymize the pool of who this might be. That's the point. It's actually gonna facilitate forensics and DFIR. It's amazing. And literally just from a browser, like that's it. I also need to mention Gray Noise. Gray Noise, awesome coming out of DC, Andrew Morris. He had this idea. There's a lot of threat intel, but we're not interested in all this stuff out there. We want to know who's targeting you. Let's look at the Gray Noise. Let's filter out the bots, the spammers, the haters, the CDNs. Who's left? Out of the 100,000 IPs, there's 3 targeting you. Let's focus on that. Completely subverted the threat intel paradigm. So here's an example, like here's the noise, China's up to no good, 4,000-ish IPs. So what we can do in Canary is configure it as an old school honeypot. Sit on the internet, listen for signals, send the Gray Noise interprets it, analyzes it, then you can take that and send it to another great tool called Run Zero, created by H.D. Moore, or I'm getting ahead of myself. But Gray Noise will save you so much time. I wrote this really basic script. All it does is takes your Canary alerts, sends them the Gray Noise. You need an API key. If you need to hook up, let me know, because I'm an enterprise person. But you can also have a community edition. Once you run it through, it makes a simple report. You can do whatever you want. Like I said, filter it out. It's going to tell you stuff like, is it a bot? False, false, false. If those are false, it means it's a person. Why is this dude from Auckland so pissed off at you? You probably need to figure that out. And Run Zero is a hero where we need and the one we deserve, like Batman. Also, this is some AI-generated hotness. I don't even know, but I like it. So, Canary and Run Zero for the Munich crowd, pretzels and beer cheese, but fill in the blank. It really is lamb and tuna fish, as they'd say in GoDaddy. No. But look at the asset I just had. You can automatically map it to Run Zero. Run Zero is the only continuous asset inventory program that doesn't suck. And the reason is because H.D. Moore wrote it in Go. It's fast enough to actually keep up with real-time changes to your inventory. And it categorizes it. It literally gives you the IP, everything you need to know. in real time. Free service. Awesome. Like, go get it now. Now that's tasty. All right. Look at this long enough, you will hallucinate. But let's talk about the tokens. Rest in peace, Chris Farley. All right, deceive nosy strangers. It's the record of type in BSides roa.org. Behind the scenes is actually an internet protocol address, which is your phone number. But there's a lot of nosy O'Donnells up in here. So what you can do, internally or externally, is create fake records. Like, I bought the domain thinks.io and sent it to them, so like, this is a valuable domain. But you can create a fake CNAME, Vault Secrets, SSO. If they're on a dark network segment, like if somebody's on there and there's this whole VLAN with nothing on it, but it resolves to this, you're gonna at least know that they're in there. It only tells you that they're using Cloudflare, so it's gonna tell you the DNS IP, but it's a good initial token. It'll tell us things are running amok. The Snoop Dogg's in the building. So then let's add another token. This is actually my favorite because it is the easiest to deploy and it gives you the most information just from a browser redirect. So if you go to our domain, radzen.io, it redirects to a portfolio made by a lovely person that I'll mention later. In the process, it's gathering all this info and you don't even know. Like IP, again, agent, JavaScript, all these little characteristics just from a token. You want to wreak some havoc, go around to Marriott, print out a QR code that says Marriott Enhanced Internet, and send them wherever. You'll be amazed how many people like to scan it. QR codes are hot. Dodge and desist. So one other thing I've seen, a lot of people will clone your website, doppelganger domains. Maybe they want to buy BSides, roa. Whatever. You can put 5 lines of JavaScript on, and if they redeploy it, it'll tell you. It's amazing. Like, okay, some person's there, let's investigate. Because at that point, you can usually scare them with your legal team, say, stop doing this. Or you can understand it as a larger threat context. So a lot of times, there's a bigger picture here. And that's literally just you embed it, you can obfuscate it. So if you do have a sophisticated adversary, they're not going to just immediately tell from the JavaScript, oh, this is a clone site. Amazing free token, it works. Alert, protect, investigate. Mac, no, I don't remember his name, but he's on it. Oh, I love Borat. So moving from Active Directory to the cloud, if you own AWS and API key, you got the goods. So why don't we create our own AWS keys and drop them on the CEO's laptop who never uses AWS, or the CMO's. The point is, you get an AWS key, try to not use it. You're going to be so tempted because it's there. But this is where people make a mistake, adversaries. They then use it on their machine. And then they do, whoopsie daisy, not only does it tell you the machine, the command, it gives them your IP. Again, more forensic data. It's a dud. You can even permission it to do things in fake environments. I have to tell you this really funny story of a red team campaign that happened over 3 weeks. We got pwned, right, allegedly. So there's a 71-page report they drop. All the while, I'm actually reporting all of their fake tokens. So my report was like 94 pages. I drop it down and it said, you've been punked, because it wasn't even a real environment. So they pwned a token environment. Congratulations, you idiots. More bang for the bucket. There's another AWS token. Make an S3 bucket, all right? If you do list buckets, you're gonna hit it. Maybe, if you can add exceptions, because maybe it's gonna get noisy, but how do you avoid this? You can't. You're creating a layer of deception, literally like landmines. You miss one, you trip over another. As you layer them together, which I'll show you, like a 7-layer dip, you're gonna create so much rich data that you're just gonna hand it over to the auditors and they're gonna say, congrats, your cyber insurance just went down, for example, because you did all the heavy lifting for us. So here's an example. They're running Bodo3, even tells you the user, the type of requests. I think I did a header, whatever. Make it look attractive. Aetna, BAA, PHBI. Maybe be obvious, but maybe not so obvious. Get creative. That's the fun thing. There's literally no limit to this other than your imagination. And this is a lot going on here. Anyone exhibit fans out there? He was a big fan of putting fish tanks inside of your car so you could drive a car with a fish tank. Why don't we put a Slack token inside of Slack So when people are enumerating it, they see a Slack token, which happens all the time, and they use it and they get some cold stunner. But look, it even tells you permissions. Again, you can permission it to do things for bogus accounts. And the moment they do, you're gonna know right away someone's in Slack. Because if they've gone through email and they can read Slack, that's not good. That means they're already in your network, but you can at least know then. There's too much trust put in messaging, right? Because people don't trust email. However, Slack phishing is quite fun. If you haven't seen it in a while, you will, because what happened was in 2019, Slack deprecated legacy webhooks because they realized they were over-permissioned. If you have a legacy webhook, you can send a message from anyone to anyone. I have run campaigns myself that were so good I've clicked on my own links. Just try it. Okta says change your password. Well, it looks legitimate. Damn, that's good. So it's a bad, insidious attack vector. And then K8, it's K8S. Isn't that cute? Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is like orchestrating containers and so on. This is a pretty new token. Another very attractive API target, because people will get one, they'll try to hit the endpoint, and then they'll run kubectl. Again, oh, they're on Linux or ARM64. Again, we're building more info, and we're even following that as they're changing IPs. Quite useful intel. And then, you guys remember the 93 megabytes of RAR files? Well, you can accidentally an executable. So what you can do is like create PowerShell that's token, drop it on the marketing machine, and then someone's coming along. Who's running PowerShell on the marketing machine? No one, right? Or who am I? But you don't know. You literally embed it and you can't tell the difference. Reg edit, whatever you want. It happens, and here it's used to monitor who am I. Pretty new token, awesome, very easy to deploy. Okay, now I'm gonna give you tokens for you individually that you should put on now. This isn't a trap. But look, how would you know if you had Pegasus spyware before doing forensics? You wouldn't, but you can. WireGuard's newer VPN technology to supplant OpenVPN. You can literally create your own profile, put on your device. The idea is someone's on your phone enumerating profiles, they're gonna activate what's the enterprise VPN, boom, alert. This works. I've helped 4 or 5 of my friends know that Pegasus was on there. How the hell else would you know? You wouldn't, unless you use iMazing and you do a forensic deep dive. So this is an early warning system. Put that on your phone right now. This may be a trick. You can scan it if you like. But QR codes are awesome, so versatile. But how do we make bad guys scan them and lead them down a path of nothing? Well, you get new enrollment codes, Okta, Duo, so on. So create one, put it in an inbox that's unread for everyone. You can actually do this in mass with their Gmail token and say, well, shit, MFA enrollment, cool. But when you scan it, I actually forget where it sends you. Maybe it rickrolls you, but you're security people. I don't think anyone's, there's one guy. Okay, cool. It's not gonna go on your phone. That would be awesome if I could just do that from afar, but no. Anyway, look at this long enough again, you will hallucinate. But at this point, we know the adversary's here. They may not. Let's mess with them. Let's make them reevaluate their whole worldview and maybe convince them to have a career change. So yeah, you can data basically dump. So there's a database token, right? Maybe we have it sound like we have payment staples, SQL, whatever, bunch of dud data. Here's an extra little approach. You can put tokens inside the database. Really cool. So not only do you get the alert that the database is accessed, but all the other things. You're layering it on. You're literally just it's an out of control snowball of alerting. It's awesome, super easy. You should do it. Conspiracy Keanu. It's funny because conspiracy theories like conspiracy fact, like all these things. Post-scarcity, Operation Northwoods, MK Ultra, HARP. Turns out, conspiracy is actually just a plot between 2 or more people. Happens all the time. However, in there, drop something, a truth bomb. We want to know what the executives are being paid. Whoa. No, actually, did you know that money's virtual? You did. Every dollar is $9 in debt. Probably didn't know. Maybe this scammer is just opportunistic and just loves money because he just wants to scam. Maybe after this, he reconsiders. Let's hope. All right, any DB Cooper fans out there? The only person successfully skyjacked an airplane and got away with it. Also very tempting. But let's say we're looking at our prospectus or some dumb nonsense, but instead, they learn about D.B. Cooper. Maybe they actually find him. They go from being a petty scumbag in cyberspace to solving the only unsolved. I mean, that's a more meaningful, productive use of time, right? This is the thought. Maybe we can convince them to not be terrible, but we can only hope. You can do this with Excel, Google Sheets, anything. Now, Tines, I mentioned earlier, let's orchestrate, automate, and celebrate. So Tines is so cool. They give you a generous free tier. Check it out. So here's a story I built to kind of pull together the things I mentioned earlier. Canary alert comes in. The moment it does, you then you get the canary detail, the API, you deduplicate, then you send it to run zero. Run zero runs all the stuff through Granules for context, filters it out, adds in run zero. So cool. Why this is helpful? Let's say all of a sudden your machines are communicating with Tor hidden services. So you're getting an asset created. You're like, that's not normal. So it helps you keep track of what you know, and what you know is bad. But also, asset inventory is a really tough problem to solve. These guys figured it out, like, incredibly. Have fun trying to run nmask scans every week or Nessus. It's just not going to work, but this does. Another shout out here, Lima Charlie, awesome company. They have a direct Canary integration where you can ship logs to them and get rich detail and then add in forensics capabilities. So Lima Charlie is kind of a SIM, it's kind of SecOps. It's awesome. It's got a huge free tier. It does EDR. But it just allows you to build a timeline. Again, it allows you to understand the correlation and context. Because I'm not proposing that you get rid of your SIM. All I'm saying is Canary is designed for breach detection. You should still be shipping this to your SIM for historical purposes, but you'd be fooling yourself if you think you're going to find these things in real time. It doesn't work. But when you need to investigate, you need a SIM. You need historical data. Perfect. You can also ship it to Splunk, Sumo Logic, whatever. I'm giving it a shout out here because this company's awesome and they're the coolest. So get it, it's free. Now here's the Lean Neeson. I'm really clever, get it? This is what happens. Let's layer 7 different types of deception. Here's how it goes. One example. You got an Nginx web server. Let's say it's pwned, but Nginx is actually tokened. So that binary fires an alert. Then it goes to NetStack, because you're going to do situational awareness, any adversary. Then you might just be loud. You should run Nmap, where you're going to set up all kinds of alerts, as I saw. And then you're going to find a Kubernetes endpoint, sweet. Some reason there's also access to a Google Doc that has information for an AWS key to a fake S3 bucket. And now, I don't know who you are, but I'll find out soon and I will kill you. No, but this is really good info for the auditors, the cyber insurance. You can literally reduce your costs and save money just by layering this together. It's freaking awesome. And yeah, that's a wrap. But before the Q&A, I just wanted to say something. I have to give props to my crew. I actually have a crew. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but this is my 8th talk, and I have people that, for example, MF Stein designed. She did the whole slide deck. Go to radzen.io/JV. That portfolio is made by her. She's awesome. You should hire her. Also, my guy there, Z Payne. He's a videographer genius and the vision for all this. Awesome dude. Also, T Doug for the hugs and the encouragement. And my gal, Christiane, who's now officially the Princess of Philadelphia, because I said so. She's a great human. She motivated me. And finally, I need to give thanks to the partners. Thinks, Gray Noise, Run Zero, Keeper, Push. They've all supported me, given me like lifetime access, because it's mutually beneficial. I highly recommend partner with security companies. Stop working against each other. It doesn't need to be Netscope versus CAD, like Big Glass versus whatever. How about we augment it and build the best kick-ass stuff? These are the few companies that are doing it because they have a model that works. They say, come, use it for free. If you have time, it will always be free. If you need help, pay for it. Not this whole bait and switch, snake oil, buy a $100,000 Palo Alto, whatever. No, because it's worthless. Go buy a firewall instead. Anyway, these companies are pushing the industry forward. they deserve to be recognized. That's why I do these talks. That's why I've spent the last 2 years of my life, and I can't wait to keep going. But thank you so much. Q&A. Do it.